All right, so it is, you guys can keep typing in the chat box at this point and we can say hi as you join. We are going to go ahead and get started. First, I want to say thank you to everybody for joining us today. We're very excited to have Megan and Kim here with us today for this education webinar. I know we have a lot of educators online and we're very excited to hear from you. So I'm going to turn it over to you guys. If you guys have questions, feel free to write them in the chat box. We'll definitely get to answer them at the end. And I'll let you guys take over.
All right, thanks. Thanks, Frank. All right, well, definitely thank you for joining us. Good timing because we just celebrated Teacher Appreciation last week, hopefully. Oh my goodness.
We're not going to
Here we go. We won't print for you. All right.
We are so excited that you guys logged on to see us tonight. My name is Kim Rygas, and I'm the principal here at Auburn Elementary School. I'm a graduate of Montgomery County Public Schools. We won't say what year. Holly Furrow might know, though. I was an RU graduate back in 2007, and then again in 2008 with my first master's as an early childhood special education major. And then I went back to school when I finally figured out what I wanted to be when I grew up. And I went back with Dr. Brad Bazell and got another master's degree in educational leadership in 2016. I spent 9 years in the classroom, 9 wonderful years. There is not a day that passes that I do not miss being in the classroom. I taught 3rd grade for 7 years and 1st grade for 2 years. When I was in 3rd grade, I was named the GLE Teacher of the Year. I was an assistant principal here for 2 years at Auburn Elementary School, and this is my first year as the principal. Same school.
What a first year.
Yes, one for the books.
And I'm Megan Hawley. Very similar story to Kim. I am also a graduate of Montgomery County Public Schools. Have some classmates in the attendees tonight. And I actually graduated from Auburn High School, so I didn't go too far. I'm back in the community, giving back to those that helped me grow. So I am also a Radford graduate from 07 and 2019, so I just finished last year. I have 11 years of classroom experience. I taught for 10 years at Christiansburg Elementary, 3rd grade and 4th grade, and a couple of times I did looping, which I had the same students for 2 years in a row, which was amazing. And oh, you disappeared. And was really hard to give them up after 4th grade. And then I transferred before I pursued this journey. I thought it was important to be in a pre-K through 6 building, so I transferred to Margaret Beeks Elementary, where I taught 2nd grade. I was, one year I was CES Teacher of the Year, Margaret Beeks Teacher of the Year. Oh, we have comments. I don't know how to do both of these. And then the RU Admin Cohort Outstanding Student. And I am a first-year administrator, assistant principal at Auburn Elementary. And it has definitely been a year to remember.
Yes.
Let's see. Go screen. Here we go.
So we're just going to tell you a little bit about our school, what we've done during closure, and what we typically would do, hopefully, should we have not experienced that closure. We are now the 2nd largest elementary school in our division. I think sometimes folks consider us to be small and rural, and while we are out in the middle of nowhere with no stoplights, we have a very large school. We are a Title I school. We have about 566 kiddos, 1 preschool class. We have about 5 sections in every grade level, 2 grade levels. We only have 4 for a total of 29 classes. We have a very large staff with about 78 folks and 13 bus drivers who drive for our strand. And our free and reduced lunch population continues to increase. We're sitting right now at about 49%.
And, you know, a little bit about us, and that we'll talk about during our time together is, you know, we included our bus drivers, again, because you're going to learn that relationships are very important to us. And so they are also a critical member of our team. So that's something that we hope you can take away from some of our time together. So our vision, something that we say every day on our morning announcements with our students, we actually do live morning announcements, something like this.
Yes.
We like to think we're the next Hoda and Jenna.
Yeah.
So just move over, Hodenja.
Yep, I'm coming for you.
We every day say we are a community of learners working together to become shining stars. And how that is accomplished is by building relationships first. And so we're building relationships through communication, connection, and compassion. And again, that's just how we're going to make sure that not only in our elementary school, because we do share a campus with the middle and high school, but that our families and our middle and high school students, they all feel like they are a part of our community. So, what a year to remember.
So I truly believe that things happen for a reason, and I feel like if we can do this year, then we can really do anything that is thrown our way. So just a few things that have happened this year. We started a few new traditions. We went caroling as a faculty. We hopped on a school bus and we traveled to 3 different locations and we met families there and we did some caroling. It was well received by our whole community. We replaced what was a traditional sing along with now hopefully a new caroling tradition, and it was wonderful. It was totally volunteer for our teachers, but it was fantastic.
And I think by doing that, we met our families where they are, and so they had more of an opportunity to connect with us. And then it also gave our teachers an opportunity to get out and see where our students are living, and just, again, make connections with those families.
Yes, and we just recently did a teacher parade, and we have something else planned for the end of the year, but really getting out into our community. One thing that we did over the summer was we met families literally where they were, and we went out into our community. We planted flowers, we read books, and we packed sandwiches and had lunch with an area that I felt really just needed some friendly faces and some connections, and that was wonderful. And we wanted to do something again in the spring, but unfortunately that didn't happen. So that's something that we really want to continue. We do a lot of student and staff recognition on our morning announcements every day. We recognize star students, so we have a positive referral system in place. And that is something new that started this year that was very well received from students, families, teachers. It was really nice to see those students getting recognized for something good. And the same for our staff. We really have the mindset that our classroom, when we became administrators, just got larger.
A little bit bigger.
And we have students, but we also have teachers. And it's really important to recognize staff and faculty for their hard work and their dedication, because we would not be able to do what we do on a daily basis without the wonderful adults that are in this building each and every day.
Absolutely.
We've transitioned recently to online learning.
Everybody's making it. Way to go, everybody out there. You are heroes, making it happen. We have survived out in Reiner 3 power outages. And so we are very resilient out here because, sometimes we have to be very flexible as well. So we'll lose power. One of my favorite quotes, though, was in lunch when a second grader, he said, "I can't learn today. There's no power."
Yes.
But, they didn't send us home. We made do with what we had, and, no technology. So it was nice for a while, and we continue to learn. So we have gone through 3 power outages.
Yes, and that was hard because we had plans in place, of course, crisis and emergency plans, but sometimes plans don't always go as you plan for them, and other things pop up, but we made it, and stronger for it. One thing that we really focus on is attendance here. It's something that we have to get our kiddos to school. It's super important. If we get them here, we can teach them and love them. And so we really worked hard to do some monthly incentives. And for chronic absenteeism purposes, we fluctuate. Last year was about 6%, and we really reduced that from the previous year. So we focused on that again this year. And we had on average about 95% each month of students perfect attendance in those classrooms. And we make lots and lots of phone calls. We do home visits.
We will provide transportation. If families are struggling, some students are having a difficult time getting up and getting on the bus. We've called families and say, just give us a phone call. We will come and pick you up.
Yes. And for some families, we do give them their 3 passes. You have 3 passes. You can use these. I'll come and pick you up anytime. And I don't feel like it's abused in any way here because we do have a great relationship. And before any of this can happen, you really have to have good relationships.
Yeah, from day one. So we're going to talk a little bit about how we communicate with our students, our families, and our teachers, and we'll combine a little bit of like before closure and after or during school closure. So like Kim said, we have our morning announcements every day live. But before announcements, we are outside at car riders and at buses. We are greeting our students by names. We are having genuine conversations with them. You know, if students have gone on a trip, but they say, hey, I'm going to Pigeon Forge this weekend, when they come back, it's really important that we ask them how their trip was. And again, just having good, genuine conversations. You know, I was new to the school this year, but I made it a goal to learn every name and put a parent's face with it. And I think I accomplished my goal. So very good. But again, you have to be out at buses to make those connections. On the morning announcements, again, just having fun. We start our day with trying to just pick up students' spirits and, you know, get their day started on the right foot.
And we also have our teachers stand in their doorway every morning to greet students as they come in. And our fourth grade team one of our fourth grade teams gave an assignment during school closure to write letters to us. And I just received a letter in the mail today. And all it said was, I miss you standing at the door saying my name each morning. So those things do make a difference. It might not seem like they do, but I think it's very important that we remain visible during this time and during any time, but you can see how much of an impact that makes on the life of a child.
Yeah, you won't really find us in our office. We had two of our fifth graders. They built us a mobile office, so we're out in the building all the time. We are visible and just talking to our kids. Sometimes the teachers will like give us the quiet signal because we're cheering in the hallway. And then we also are just modeling. We do a lot of modeling of just how to have conversations, and then just also providing specific feedback to our students.
And, you know, it's really hard to have those tough conversations with families, but it's so much easier to have difficult conversations if you've had a few good ones before that. So communication with our families is so important. One thing that has been extremely helpful for us is the power of social media. And there's so much negativity that surrounds social media that it can be viewed as negative, but I think that we do a great job of keeping it positive, and we use social media to tell our story so that someone else doesn't get to tell our story. We have our wonderful music teacher takes care of the majority of our social media, and we utilize Facebook, Twitter. We've done a few Facebook Lives. During closure, we still do morning announcements every day. We send those out via email. Our teachers are rocking it, communicating using Google Classroom, Google Hangouts. Whatever we can do to communicate with families. There is a such thing as over communicating though. So we have to be selective in how we utilize School Messenger, all of those email blasts and phone calls. They can be overwhelming too. So we're always very careful to not over communicate.
And I think some of the feedback since school closure is that families and students have continued to appreciate some of the routine because their routines were really messed up. But just the morning announcement, it was part of their daily routine. And then during school closure, Kim and we made a goal to do care calls for all families in our building. And so we've split our roster, and we average about 10 to 15 student phone calls a day, and we are getting so much information from that. You know, some folks we have to leave messages and they'll call back, but you know, lots of families, because we've already built that relationship with them throughout the year, they are very comfortable with opening up about their child's mental health or their own. And so we've worked to get some counseling in place for students while they're at home. Some families are sharing that they're doing fine, they're making it work. They apologize for not turning in their packets, but they're working on it. And then I think the common question has just been, what will the fall look like? So some uncertainties there.
Yeah, and we teach kids from all walks of life and families from all walks of life. So just hearing that we care. It's not an item to check off of our to-do list. We genuinely care about our families and we want to know how they're doing. So I think it's really important that we continue these calls, and our goal is to have this done by the end of the year. I think we have about 125
We can do it
left. So that is still our goal, and we will get it done.
So Auburn families, if you haven't heard from us, you will.
You will. Or we've left you a message.
Yes. And then communicating with teachers.
Yes, I send out a weekly update every Monday. I utilize SMORE, which if you've never looked into SMORE, I highly recommend it. We have several of our classroom teachers who also use SMORE to do weekly newsletters. But it's pretty consistent, the same thing every week. We recognize a team of teachers, a group of folks, bus drivers, anyone who really has had an outstanding week. So you can see here we had a staff shout out Star of the Week. So we have Star of the Week for kids, but we do the same for our teachers. We always have important dates to remember, items from principals leadership meeting. That's always included in here as well, and any important information that they're going to need or links throughout the week.
Yeah, and just trying to be, Kim is really good about any information that she's getting, being very transparent with what is being shared quickly, trying to get information to our teachers quickly so that they can be prepared. All right.
One of the things I think that we did, it happened right when we closed school, and it was very time consuming. We spent several days working on it, but we mailed out 78 handwritten cards to our faculty and staff just to say thank you for all of their hard work during this time. And I'm really glad that we did that when we did it, because we had the time to focus on it and give it the attention it needed. But handwritten notes go a long way.
Yeah. All right, connection. So feeling connected to each other. I mean, you know, we're missing our people like most folks, you know. Well, our husbands are different. They're introverts, we're extroverts. So we're missing our people and our just feeling connected. So
we love John Gordon. We love his work. Last week, we were fortunate enough to have Coach Buzz Williams pop into our faculty meeting, and Coach Buzz is also a big John Gordon fan. But, you know, John Gordon really preaches connection that breeds commitment, and it makes us stronger together and through adversity, which we are experiencing right now. We have a choice. We can run away from each other, or we can run towards each other. And I think if anything positive that comes out of this whole school closure and COVID-19, I think that we have all ran towards each other.
Yeah.
And that has been extremely heartwarming to see our faculty and staff just kind of wrap around each other, wrap around families, and just cheer each other on. This job is too hard to do alone. So really cheering one another on and supporting each other is something that we've really seen happen.
And I can't remember if we put it in here, but we, you know, talking about wrapping around each other, like families are also, I think it's, you know, making stronger connections among families. We did some where families could recognize other parents for our morning announcements. And so we had a lot of families write in and say, hey, this mom or this dad is really rocking it. And so we would give them a shout out on the announcements as well.
Yeah, and it was great to see other parents recognizing each other within our community.
So like we've said, we're always visible in the classroom. So one way that we can connect with our students is by being in their rooms. And so this picture here, sometimes Kim will be like, I have this idea, and I'm going to say, yes, let's make it happen. So she said, we're going to teach every child in our school. And we did. And so this was our preschool lesson. And we selected our reading lessons based on our previous year's SOL results. And so we were working on some functional text. And so yeah, we're just in our classrooms daily. We modeled co-teaching. That was the point of our lesson as well, was to not just teach our students, but we were modeling how to be collaborative and co-teach. Let's see, we're at recess and lunch with kids. We've been spun on these things.
Oh yeah, we love to get outside and play with them. One of the reasons why we did co-teaching too was to kind of give our teachers an extra planning period. So we said, we'll take your kids for an hour. We'll do an activity with them during, you know, a time that you would normally have them, not during your planning time.
Right.
And you can either use that as extra planning time, or you can come in and evaluate us on our teaching. Even though Megan and I were both in the classroom and we taught the same grades for a long time, we never co-taught together.
Right.
So I think we learned a lot about each other during our co-teaching experience as well. And That's been a focus in our building this year too. And we've done a lot of work with Lisa Deeker in refining our co-teaching practices. And so I think we learned a lot. And for us, we don't ask our teachers to do something that we wouldn't do. So if we're asking you to co-teach, we're going to model it for you.
Again, a lot of modeling. And then just trying to stay connected after the closure. We talked about, our new tradition. Kim and I had lots of tears in the car, and trying to figure out when this could happen every year. We are going to do something at the end of the year. We're hosting virtual talent shows and spirit weeks. I mean, we dusted off our old clogging shoes and had lots of laughs. But again, just trying to stay connected. And I think something that the talent show did for us in our community is we got to see our students, and students got to see their peers in different ways that they didn't know. There are other fellow dancers in our student body, and so we're gonna do a lunch show one day.
And like those clogging shoes handy.
And a lot of teachers and folks are doing Zoom drop-ins. When we get on and we just can see our kids' faces and hear their laughter and their excitement, it really warms our hearts. And then Kim and I, we do every now and then we'll do some neighborhood rounds. So we'll pick, she'll go out one Sunday or Saturday and just do some neighborhood drives, and just go around different neighborhoods to check in. And I've seen some students, hey, how's it going, just from the car, social distancing, but again, just being present in their neighborhoods and saying hello to their parents.
And a huge thank you to our husbands who have been extremely supportive in all of these ideas that we've had during school closure. Last week, they helped us wash 21 cars for Teacher Appreciation Week. And they'll get in the car and travel around with us and do some neighborhood swoops as well. So like we said before, we love our community. This is a fantastic community. We all look out for one another and take care of each other. And these are just a few pictures from our summer outing. And this was strictly volunteers, and you can see we have lots of kids who participated with us. And these were two of our stops that are pictured here from our caroling.
Yes, it was a lot of fun. So yeah, just meet families where they are. And then compassion, no act of kindness, no matter how small, is ever wasted. So like, a Post-it note on somebody's desk or their car can go a long way.
And Katie Marchese is actually here with us. But one of my first years here, I guess it was my first year, I kind of lived out of my office, and I had a lot of donations. I had a lot of clothing. I had extra snacks and random things for families as they needed it. And, jokingly, it was referred to as Kim's Closet. And my vision was to turn Kim's Closet into something that was a little bit bigger. And Katie Marchese, who's here with us today, is a second grade teacher. She kind of turned my dreams into a reality and created this beautiful space for families to come in and shop with kind of dignified choice, so that they had some selection in what they purchased.
All free in donations.
Yes. Yeah. So they are able to come in and shop. Typically once a month, families will come in and gather what they need, or we can sometimes send a care package to a home, or we have made special deliveries as well. And one thing that we found with attendance during my first year here is we definitely had some kids who didn't come to school because their needs were not being met. And this was one thing that I do think definitely increased our attendance and brought kids to school, because we could give them clean clothes, or give them snacks, or, provide them with laundry detergent so that they could wash their clothes at home. In no way, shape, or form do we feel that this ever enables a family. They do not depend on it. We're just giving them what they need until they can have their own needs met.
And so right now they're not able to come into our school to go shopping, but we collaborate with some of our bus drivers, and so we'll put a box or a bag together, and they'll swing by, pick up the box, and do it when they're delivering breakfast and lunch. So but yeah, Kim has done a lot of partnerships with different community organizations. So we're able to provide microwaves for families. And then Katie Marchese, she does a lot of fundraising and requesting donations. And then we have like families who are, utilizing our closet, they will also give back. So
yeah, and that's really heartwarming to see, just going through clothes and saying, here are a few hand-me-downs. A couple months ago, you helped me out. Now we're returning the favor. But Auburn United Methodist Church has been great in packing food bags for our community. Kiwanis, they have also helped us. A couple of other local churches, just because of staff members, they have made donations as well to sustain this, because once it's set up and going, that's the most difficult part, is sustaining it. But Mark Cox and Monty Thompson have been extremely helpful in helping us with food, especially during the closure, along with Auburn United Methodist Church.
So we are appreciative of all donations. And, we have staff and parents, somebody is having a sale on something, they'll send in extras.
Yes.
We really do use our closet. And then here's another picture of Katie Marchese's class.
Yes. So when we were in school, and we're still continuing to do this, doing some mental health check-ins, distant trauma-informed care is kind of a little different, but we have had over the past few years just some ongoing professional development in trauma-informed care. Every classroom in our building had a calming corner / Zen zone, just a safe space for kids to go to. We utilize zones of regulation tier 1. Our wonderful counselors taught that in classroom guidance space, but our teachers kind of reiterated it throughout the day. And we also have a small teacher tap out room if a teacher needs a break throughout the day, or if we're just afraid that we're going to say or do something that we really shouldn't. They call one of us, they call the front office, we go and cover their class, and we have a space that's safe for them with no windows. It's completely dark and private, and they
water
take
and
their
snacks.
break.
It has water and snacks, and again, it's not abused. I mean, I think I could count on one hand how many times it was.
And it was absolutely necessary when it's used. And sometimes I will be in there, or I'll do a lap around the building. So
get some fresh air.
Yes.
Again, being compassionate, we celebrate everyone, from our drivers to our lunch ladies to our students. We talked about recognizing students on the announcements. You would be, just for students to hear their names or see their pictures, or for family members or, aunts and uncles that live far away, for them to see that their family members are being recognized for, something big or small, it goes a long way. And so whenever our stars hear their names on the announcements, their faces bright, or just so much brighter. So we love to celebrate. Our drivers there love them. And again, we just had Teacher Appreciation Week, and we also had a lot of fun doing this. Some of our classroom teachers, they will do some room transformation. So for one night, for our pizzeria night, for game night, we tried to transform the sidewalk a little bit. It was a little challenging in the wind, but we had family game night, so folks would come through the drive-through, and they got family pizza and a game to play. And then we did the same for donuts. And then again, Kim and I washed folks' cars. And the thing is like some teachers didn't want their cars to be washed.
I know.
And we come let us wash your cars.
Yeah, we wanted to wash those cars. We paid for it the next day. We were quite sore, but it was all worth it.
It was. Got a little bit of a suntan that day too.
Yeah.
It was nice.
And a huge thank you. It just shows that collaboration is so important with our PTSO. We have a parent-teacher student organization who is just a wonderful group of families that really support us, support our teachers, and we could not have done anything we did for Teacher Appreciation Week without the hard work and the funds from those ladies in that organization. So we are forever grateful for all that they do for us.
We, spread kindness. The picture, lots of folks were getting yard signs, and I think one teacher thought her house was for sale. Nope, didn't try to sell your house. But something about this was that, I texted Kim and I'm like, wow, like our teachers, and she went to Max Meadows to visit our Max Meadows teachers, and I went to Salem and Giles. Some of our folks are driving. They have like a 2-hour round trip. Yeah. And so I said, wow, we really have to do a good job of being mindful of how long our faculty meetings are, or just certain things that we're asking, because they still have to drive home and be with their family. So that was very eye-opening when we were doing that.
Yes, and we like to have fun. We like to recognize the hard work of our teachers. Being in the classroom for so long, it really is important for us to recognize them, and it's really important for us to have fun. So 12 Days of Christmas.
You're gonna get a little taste. We won't make you listen to our singing the whole time.
Not the whole time.
But how about
we're not music teachers, by the way.
No.
Tasty popcorn bar, yummy sweet treats, hot chocolate drinks, and jeans with an Auburn tea.
Our Auburn people, you remember this? It was so
to me, an inspirational message.
Oh, so much fun. We could still sing it. So like next week or next year, we're gonna have to figure out what we can do.
We need a new song.
I know.
We continue to spread kindness. I think for us, it's really important that we do things together as a faculty and that we continue to serve and that we serve the larger community than just our school. So for Christmas this year, we went and worked at the Montgomery County Christmas store. We volunteered our time, which, teachers don't have a lot of time. So it was totally volunteer based. We had a group of teachers that went and we wrapped presents. We helped folks shop. We loaded groceries in cars. It was just very heartwarming to shop with families and have just a different conversation. And some of those kids were kids in our community. And then we took everyone out to dinner at Amelia's in Christiansburg to kind of celebrate and being together.
And this was also like a good opportunity for our staff to, just continue building connections that way. Now, if anybody out there knows Kim or myself, we do not like to cook at all.
No.
Like ever. Cereal's a good dinner in my book. But again, we decided we wanted to give back. Our teachers are very important to us. And so this picture here was during parent teacher conference. We cooked spaghetti. And we had spaghetti, salad, dessert, bread, and our kitchen was okay and clean.
It was, but that was hard work, man. I don't know if you've ever fed a large faculty and cooked the meal that you served them, especially since we don't cook. But we had a great time, and our faculty, they were able to eat together. It was just like the Thanksgiving table spread out, and we really enjoyed it. It was a lot of work, but I'm so glad we did it.
But it also, again, our cafeteria ladies, our lunch ladies, cleaning those machines alone took an hour.
Yes.
And so spaghetti noodles in that machine, no.
No.
Yeah.
Next year we might be calling Amelia's. Yeah.
And then another time we did it, when did we do pancakes? We cooked pancakes
Christmas.
one morning.
That was part of our 12 days of Christmas. We were flipping pancakes.
Yes.
So that was a little bit easier though.
That was. But again, a lot of fun. So if you're able to, make that happen, it was very much appreciated. This is one of my favorite quotes. If you provide an uncommon experience for your students, they will reward you with an uncommon effort and attitude. And so that's just going to lead us into making sure that we're having fun, and that's by Dave Burgess. So we are always in costumes. We found out preschool was learning about dinosaurs, so we just happened to have a T-Rex costume.
You never know what you're going to find here.
She became a paleontologist for the day, or it's the Skittles versus M&M voting in kindergarten, or getting ready for a music program. Yeah. So we just really love to have fun and, make our kids laugh, and we laugh at ourselves a lot. Let's see, these pictures here, our theme this year was games.
Yes.
Goals, adapting, mental health, engagement, and
sensitive to trauma.
Yes, sensitive to trauma.
Yeah, so we played a lot of games. We tried to model a game at every faculty meeting that we could then use in our classrooms. And right now we're modeling games in our Zoom meetings. So we've played Name That Tune and Pictionary and Zoom In, and we're stealing lots of great ideas from our teachers, because when we pop onto their Zoom classrooms or Facebook Live, we are seeing all kinds of fun games. So we're stealing a lot of their ideas, but we always try to model what we would like to see, or just something fun to do, not something we expect to see, but just something that they could utilize in their classroom. So our back to school faculty meeting this year, we were Mario and Luigi, and everything we did was centered around the games.
Yes. The staff got to play headbands, and so Yeah, and then we were on the roof, and
Another one of those ideas where you say, I know you think we're crazy. I'm
but
crazy.
no,
but
yeah, we're gonna make it
do
happen.
you want to get on the roof? So we were principal elves on the shelf, and we invited Santa to join us.
Yeah, and just word for like some tips for next time. Make sure you know which roof to get on.
Yeah.
We climbed to
There's
the wrong.
multiple.
We climbed to the wrong one, so we couldn't see anybody. And we're like, this isn't gonna work. So we realized there was another entry point to the roof. So just make sure you know ahead of time.
But we had a beautiful day this year to do
So
this
good.
right before we left, and as our buses were lining up before the winter holiday break, and as our families were in line in the car rider loop, we just got up there and we waved and we yelled their names out.
Oh, yes.
And it was wonderful to see their excitement.
Santa. And then so again, to prepare for next year, these building relationships through communication, compassion, and connection is going to be key, and whatever that will look like. But we're going to continue doing this until that, and then continue it on.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's. Oh, and then.
Yes, and so we are going to stay on if you guys have any questions, but feel free to email us. We have Twitter information here. You can shoot us a message on the AES School Facebook page as well. We are more than happy to send things to you or to communicate via email. Right now is a little crazy. We are writing summative evaluations for our teachers, and we're meeting with them all to provide them feedback throughout the year. So if we don't get right back to you, give us a little bit of grace right now. But June will be here, and we're already switching gears for next year. But shoot us an email, and we'll get back to you eventually.
Yeah, and we appreciate you joining us. And we tried to give you just a little bit of a snapshot of how we make some of these things happen. So there are comments, and I'm going to.
And just a huge thank you to all the teachers out there who are working hard to, on the, flip of a switch, we had to switch over and do this online learning, and a huge shout out to our school division for being so well prepared for everything that was tossed our way, and still continuing to prepare. And while we don't know what next year is going to look like, we know that our goal is to stay connected and to continue with our relationships with those who we serve.
Yeah. So I was just going to try to scroll through.
So I know if you guys have questions, feel free to type them in the chat box. We also can bring you up if you would like your video to come on. You can just raise your hand. There's an option to raise your hand at the bottom of the screen. We can bring you on, and you can ask your question live.
Okay.
I do want to mention you guys are getting a lot of props on the Facebook page. As a parent and an alum, I'm so very thankful and appreciative of Miss Rygas and Hawley. Honestly transforming the life of public school education and relationships between kids and principals.
Yeah.
So you're getting a lot of props there. So I just wanted to let you know that.
Thank you.
Answer questions here on the Zoom.
And yeah, feel free to jump on. We would love to see your faces too.
Yes.
Let's see.
We have lots of questions here, and we didn't see them when we were sharing our screen.
So games, we had goals, adapt, mental health, engage, and sensitivity to trauma. And we're working on our theme for next year. And so like what that looks like, I was never in a building that did a theme, but something that helped this year was it just like when we're thinking about professional development, or some teachers would incorporate it into their classroom decorations, but just being again that are we focusing on trauma, or are we making sure that we're ready to adapt and be flexible? Because guess what, this year that was a good word to have.
It's nice to have a few foci instead of many, because we can get inundated with the day-to-day tasks, but really coming back to that was something that we tried to focus on this year.
Okay, let's see. Hi, Liz. I remember you. Oh, you were with Miss Bull. Okay. Miss Bull is still there.
Kelly Holzer says hi.
No stoplights and no power. Yes, that happens. Sorry, I'm just trying to scroll and read.
We had any questions?
Anybody want to come on?
Frank, do you see any questions that we?
I don't see any questions that you guys haven't answered.
Okay.
If anybody wants to come on and wait, I have somebody raising their hand.
Okay.
Cool, here we go.
Oh, this one, we can't forget this.
Okay.
All right, Cole, I'm gonna give you. I promoted you to a panelist, so you should be able to bring your video on here in a second. I can unmute you. I can't video you.
Hi, Cole.
Hey, can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Thank you guys very much. I thought that was awesome. I'd
thank
love to
you.
hear you speak just a little bit more about your morning news. What program do you use? What platform do you put it on? And maybe just what like a typical news would look like.
We'll tell you the funny story that goes along with it too.
Okay, yeah. So we use Google Meet, and so our teachers, they pull it up on their just their computer. So we don't have to worry about like sound or camera because their desktops do not have that capability. If they were on a Chromebook, then we would have to make sure they were muted. So we just have one Meet link, and they come on that every morning. And so then we learning all the time, right? We use Google Slides to have like those student pictures and the announcements and the pledge, the flag, and the star character pledge. Well, so I always thought that I was sharing the screen, and so we stand for the pledge. So I think it was
49 days in.
49 days in, teachers and kids were only seeing like this area. Yeah, that still happened. So then, okay, we're not sharing the right way. So we started sharing the right way. And I thought they still didn't see us. So they moved, we would stand and they could still see us. So that was like, I think around 78. So it wasn't until the very end that I think we got it. And then we went into school closure, but we're still doing announcements right now. We do a lot of Adobe Spark for our announcements, but also we will do some recording. We'll do a record Zoom or a record Meet. But right now, when we're in school, we use Google Meet with slides shared. Just move out of the camera way.
Yes. Blank background. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Cole.
Let's see. There was one about, I didn't want to.
It was just that they were doing it at their
Oh, okay.
You did get a question. What after-school activities do you guys offer to your students?
So being in a rural community and transportation being sometimes an issue, the only after-school programs we offer are 4-H, as well as we have a partnership with Adventure Club, and Adventure Club does activity, homework, physical fitness, more of a childcare setting, but we do have 4-H as well.
Mm-hmm. And our goal is that, we would have some volunteers that would want to come and, lead some additional clubs, dance club.
Yeah, and we're lucky enough right now to have STEM as a specialty, which has been fantastic. And next year we're even more excited because students will have STEM as a specialty area for 45 minutes once a week. And that would be something that we would be interested in doing after school. But now all of our students have that exposure once a week. So we're really looking forward to that.
Awesome.
And Laura Nunley's on here. She was one of my co-teachers. Hi, Laura.
And we have a lot of our teachers on too. So it's great to see you guys.
If anybody else has any more questions, feel free to raise your hand or type them in the chat box. We can get them answered for you.
I'm on that one.
Yeah, there it is. You got it. Okay. We have lots of ideas planned for next year, and some of the ideas that we wanted to do this year, we'll have to just be creative and make them happen next year.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, if nobody has any questions, oh, wait, hold on.
Oh.
During the day, will you share with others what, oh, sorry, I didn't read the first part. Kim and Megan, your presence in the building during the day is different than a typical administrator. Will you share with others what that looks like?
Yeah, so we really utilize mobile offices. Like we said, we're rarely in our offices.
I don't know if I can pull it over here. It might not show up.
So we have these mobile desks that you can see us literally rolling through the hallway. We're not sure if with the green screen you can see it.
No. We'll show you later.
But we do have mobile desks. We really feel like if we can be in classrooms and in spaces, then a lot of times behavior just we won't have as many problematic behaviors because we're there to be proactive as opposed to being reactive. So we are in spaces. We try to visit every single space as frequently as we can, even if it's just a hi, how are you, how are you doing, good morning. We make our laps, so we make our rounds, and some classrooms get more frequent visits than others do, but we are up off of our seats and on our feet all day long. We get lots of steps in.
And sometimes, like, just to get out of the office, if we don't have our desk with us, we'll just go and do work in a classroom and, work beside a student. Hey, what are you working on? And collaborate. Art projects are really nice. Going to PE.
And I think it's good for our teachers too, because they see us in a non-evaluative way, so that the only time we come into their classroom is not for strictly evaluations. Right. It's really just to check on students and to check on teachers. And
fortunately, our teachers, they'll invite us in to teach, again, because we just left the classroom recently, so it's still, obviously a passion of ours. So, I got to go teach. Kristen Calvert and I wrote a Jamestown song, so I got to go in and teach all fourth graders Jamestown song to Thunder tune. Got to do a breakout with fourth grade. We just lots of different activities that we can get in and actually teach with our teachers.
Yeah, and Brad just asked a great question. Like, on social media, we function like co-principals rather than principal and assistant. That is very intentional. I was fortunate enough to work with Marcia Settle, who really allowed me to do the same with her. And we did everything. We definitely shared the roles. I don't think that she necessarily should be doing all of one thing. Like, an assistant principal, unfortunately, sometimes does all of the discipline, and we share that. I would also never ask her to do something that I wouldn't do myself. So we share the responsibilities. We're always calling each other, chatting with one another. We share the brunt of everything. There's really not too much. I think that's how you learn best, that we wouldn't be asked to do. We're just thrown in there. And we're both first year administrators, so I think we're navigating this together.
Yeah, absolutely.
Getting some more love on Facebook, Tara. And I know your kids and teachers love having you. You guys have a great vibe.
Yes.
So if nobody else has any more questions, I'm gonna go ahead and you're just getting more thank yous, I think. Yes, okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and give a little promotion for next week. We're doing another webinar on Tuesday at 11 a.m. with Charlie Cosmato, and he's going to talk about how to give an unmissable Zoom talk during COVID-19 or even afterwards. So definitely come back for more of that. And if we don't have any more questions, I will go ahead and finish this up. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We've really had a really good time, and thank you to everybody for tuning in as well. We really enjoyed this, and until next time.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Frank.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.